Thursday, September 12th. Welcome. Good to have you back here on the Damon Bruce Show. Let me mute that phone. Let me show you what a pro I am. Happy birthday to the Pac-12, kinda? Is that what we're looking at here today? Look, we've got an awful lot on the 49ers already this week. Thanks to Dave Lombardi for stopping by for a little late night Lombardi last night. That video is out. Boy, I hope you catch it. Kruger and I are going to be back with another wake up, getting you ready on a Friday, and then I'm heading down to UCLA. I'm going down to Pasadena for Indiana, UCLA at the Rose Bowl this weekend. So this is the final Damon Bruce Show of the week. Again, we will have a wake up for you with my boy Larry Kruger tomorrow morning. But there's really nothing more that can be said about the San Francisco 49ers other than they came out of week one in pretty darn good shape, and we are very much looking forward to this game in Minnesota. As a matter of fact, we'll be laying some change down on this game here in just a second. It is great to see you once again. Thank you so much for coming on back here. Hit like and subscribe. It is going to help the channel, the show, this live stream grow and be bigger. How many of you are in the room right now? I would hope that is corresponds directly with the same number of likes that you've given to this show so far. It's so weird that I have to ask for likes, but here we are. It's the world we live in. So, a whole bunch of Mountain West schools can buy as many Pac-12 t-shirts as they want. It doesn't mean they're really in the Pac-12. Like, I understand there is a desperate act of survival going on between the schools that are remaining, that are the non-SEC, non-Big Ten, non-Big 12, non-ACC schools. Who can tread water? Who can actually swim in this pool? How do you not drown in an ever-changing college football landscape? I mean, to me, it's just ridiculous. If I were czar of college football, I'd say, okay, for the next 20 years, no one can move anywhere. You cannot move. We're freezing for 20 years. This is getting ridiculous. The only thing maybe more ridiculous than all the new movement that we see is the idea that going back to the Pac-12 is maybe even a good idea. Like, to me, it just, this whole thing feels like, okay, like whatever you want to call it, you're still the Mountain West, you're still the WAC. I heard somebody call it the WAC-12. That's fantastic. This is the WAC-12. It ain't the Conference of Champions. And if it's not the Conference of Champions, it's not the Pac-12. And it cannot be the Conference of Champions without USC, and UCLA, and Stanford, and Cal involved, because those are your champions. Those are all the other sports that go on to win gold medals. I mean, did you notice that the ACC gold medal count went through the roof as soon as Stanford and Cal joined it? Big Ten gold medal count went up with USC and UCLA joining it. Oregon, Washington, pull your weight Olympically, would you please? Washington State, Oregon State are going to be joined by Fresno State, San Diego State, Boise State, and Colorado State. They will join across all sports in time for the 2026-27 academic year. So in a couple years, they have more time to now add, because they're at 6 schools. They're going to need, 6 more schools if they're going to go back to the Pac-12, 2 schools away from the Pac-8, 4 schools away from the Pac-10. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It truly is. And, the Pac-12 commissioner, Teresa Gold, and I don't care how good or bad at she could be at the job. She's better than the last guy, right? Pac-12 Commissioner Teresa Gold said for over a century, the Pac-12 Conference has been recognized as a leading brand in intercollegiate athletics. We will continue to pursue bold, cutting-edge opportunities for growth and progress to best serve our member institutions and student athletes. Stop. There is no Pac-12. There will never be another Pac-12. You can slap as many "this is still the Pac-12" bumper stickers all over it as you want. This ain't the Pac-12. When you want to go to a magic show and you go and buy tickets to see David Copperfield, it's not exactly David Copperfield. It's close, but it ain't the right thing. And this just isn't going to work. I mean, it'll work to maybe keep these teams, in the same circumstances that they were in the conferences that they're deciding to leave. The Mountain West doesn't have a robust TV deal. Mountain West schools joining Oregon State and Washington State are now not going to generate this conference that is going to command some high-dollar TV deal. And just to me, going back to old ideas is the last thing that any school should be doing right now. If you can't see, everything is about the future. Going backwards to a less than, not as sexy, can't even pretend we have any tradition or real you can't have a conference of champions without having any champions in it. With all due respect to these schools that are just trying to survive. I'm not trying to bag on them. I'm really not. But you want to know that this is an illusion of Pac-12 more than anything else? Wait until this reformed conference turns around to Stanford and Cal and says, you want back in? They're going to be like, no, your money's not right and the competition's not right. So, John Greenberg of The Athletic says, hey, they only need 2 more schools to go back to being the Pac-8. Would they take a community college if Arizona Western brought football back? You expand this conference footprint to Yuma. It could be huge. Yuma. And that's the thing. This is about media markets. The Pac-12 lost Los Angeles. There is no Pac-12 without Los Angeles. There really isn't. All of these schools just trying to hold on, I get it. But to me, it just feels like more wrong on top of wrong. So if I could really grant a wish and go back in time and say there's no, because look, Oregon, Washington, USC and UCLA, they don't belong in the Big Ten. I don't care how many years they play in the they can play in 100 Big Ten for the next 100 years. They don't belong. They shouldn't be in the conference. Conference should have some sort of element of geography tied to them. They're just, geography now means the entire country. Well, that's the National fucking Football League. This is no longer an amateur college endeavor. This is big business. Conferences have essentially become nothing but content bundlers. That's it. They're not preserving tradition. They're not laying the groundwork for a future, because a conference, by definition, is never supposed to be one school looking out for itself. It's the entire group looking out for the group and what is the good of the group. And this is obviously a mindset that no longer exists. It no longer exists. There's not a single school that won't go out of its way to do the best for itself, regardless of what would happen to the other conference members, including just abandoning it. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. A conference is supposed to be a group of schools that never walk alone. They do what's best for one another. Again, that world no longer exists. Why even have conferences anymore? I'll tell you why. I already did. They're conference bundlers. It's content bundling. That's it. The name of the Big Ten conference could be, Peacock. And the name of the SEC conference could be Amazon Prime. And the name of the Big 12 could be Netflix. I mean, that's really what's going on here. They're just taking things they think you might want to watch. They're putting it somewhere to make the most amount of money of you watching it, and who's in it and who's out of it really doesn't even matter anymore. It's content bundling. This is our crap. Buy it from us. Watch it here. That's all college football is. It's all major college football is right now. The Big 20, who gives a fuck? Look at it this way. Congratulations, you've just won the Big 10. Okay, so what do we do now? You won the Big 10. You get to go represent the Big 10 in the Rose Bowl. Congratulations. All right, we're in the Rose Bowl. We just won the Rose Bowl. Wasn't that a great year? The year's over. Well, no, now you're going to go to the college football playoff. So a Big 10 championship game win, a Rose Bowl win means you might have 3 more games to play. Like, this is not about the way it was. So trying to return to the way things used to be is just, to me, so short-sighted. If I were the WAC, the Mountain West, the WAC, the SWAC, the everyone who's not the Big Four, all of them should get together and say, this is our conference. We got a 35-school conference now, a 65-school conference. It doesn't even matter. Conferences are probably, but for the fact they need to be the network content bundlers, going to go away. And the Power 65 is what everyone says that we have. Brent McMurphy, who is one of the best college football reporters out there, says the Pac-12 had quadruplets late last night. Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State officially on board. The Pac-12 now stands at 6 members, including the holdovers, Oregon State and Washington State. I mean, are you going to go out of your way to like say the Pac-12 is back or anyone? No, of course you're not. Giving birth to quadruplets last night. Maybe that's what Shannon Sharp was doing. Was this Michelle giving birth to the new Pac-12? I just don't understand where the there is on this, because I don't think you're going to get that much. I mean, do you think you're going to walk into a single network executive's office and be like, we got the Pac-12, you back in? They're going to be like, wait a minute, that's Boise State. It's not UCLA. It's not USC. It's just, it's sad. It's gross. I do not like it. I do not like it one bit. Let me tell you what I do like. I like a good sandwich. Dave Lombardi and I had a 10-minute long conversation about sandwiches before we even turned our attention to the 49ers and football. Check out that video. Little late night Lombardi last night. He loves Ikes. I love Ikes. Let me tell you, Ikes has done so right by me. Thank you so much, Ikes, for being a sponsor. Let me tell you, Ike is wanting to do right by you. And coming up this weekend, Saturday, every Saturday between now and October 5th, Ike is giving $3 off of every sandwich when you download and use his app. Use promo code SAT3, or you just walk into an Ikes and say SAT3, and you'll get $3 off of your sandwich. Saturdays only, unfortunately not available at Santa Rosa, San Mateo, or Redwood City locations, but the rest of his stores, so we're talking like 97 other stores, have this offer. So please take advantage of it. I mean, saving $3 that's a significant amount of money these days, right? I mean, is it? Isn't it? Yes, it is. It is. That's not saving like, and I saved 35 cents. No, I'll save $3 on anything. If you're telling me you can pay full price or $3 less for anything, I'm taking the $3 less. No doubt about it. And Ike is doing that for you Saturdays only. Give some love to Ikes. Give some love to my boys at the Dubliner. Head down this weekend. Again, I'm going to be in Pasadena, so I can't get to the Dubliner this weekend. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be there. The Dubliner West Portal is one of the best bars in San Francisco, on one of the best streets in San Francisco, with one of the best bartenders in San Francisco, my man Kenny. And you go ahead, you walk in there, you're going to be treated like family. You tell them that Damon Bruce sent you. You're going to get treated like VIP family. Got love for the Dubliner. I really, really do. That's a sip of the. Speaking of drinking, there's a sip of the day right there. That was a good one. I'm going back for another. Hold on. Yes, I'm going to subscribe and like that cup of coffee. That thing is working right now. And look, so you have enough money to tip generously and get your $3 sandwiches. You want to make a couple of plays, make your sports more interesting when you're out there? Go ahead and check out BetUS. Let me show you how easy it is to do something like that. See this right here? See BetUS? This is the page. We got 49ers. We got Vikings coming up. I'm telling you, the 49ers, this number, -5, I'm banging it. 49ers -5 feels good to me. Over, unders, I'm still not messing with them. Every team's still trying to find its legs. How confident do I feel? I put $100 bets up in the past. I think we're going just 50 this time around. $50 right there on the Niners, -5. Place my bets. Boom. There you go. It's that easy on BetUS. Check Check out BetUS, offering 150% deposit match on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. And all you got to do is use promo code YouTube150 to have that extended to you. Thank you to my partners. This show is being powered by BetUS. Easy to use, easy to find. If it were only that easy to win, right? Every single bet you make, if it were only that easy. Couple of other notes from football here on a show today. Couple of other notes before we get into something that came up just sort of on my timeline this morning. I didn't think we were going to be talking about it, but we'll get to it in a second. I mean, I honestly didn't think that we were going to be talking about our good friends at the Pac-12 being reborn, but here we are. Let me tell you that Davonte Adams is a hell of a football player. I don't think there's any doubting that. Davonte Adams, excuse me, I don't know why people are calling me. I am on the air, boys and girls. Calm down. Davonte Adams called Lamar Jackson. Now, the Raiders are playing the Ravens this weekend, so maybe he's just trying to gas up the competition. I don't know. But Davonte Adams called Lamar Jackson the best ball carrier ever. Like, take the word running quarterback out of it. He's the best ball carrier ever. Quote, dude changed the game. He's the best, in my opinion. Best ball carrier ever, no matter what position you want to talk about. I don't think there's anybody as big of a threat carrying the football. I'm going to tell you right now, as a 6-time Pro Bowler, Davonte Adams is a hell of a football player, but obviously he doesn't know shit about football. I mean, come on. You're going to say that out loud while Barry Sanders still lives and breathes among us? You know, go look at Walter Payton highlights. Go look at Lamar Jackson. You tell me who's better. I'll wait. Go back and find the grainy Gale Sayers footage. Come on. You know, speaking highly and glowingly of a contemporary is a very nice thing to do. You could have absolutely given Lamar Jackson the highest possible compliment by saying this guy's the greatest running quarterback of all time. And honestly, even though he might now have the numbers to back that up, he's still not. Like, I once saw Michael Vick score a touchdown inside the Metrodome in Minneapolis. In Minnesota, Michael Vick started the run from the parking lot. Like, forget about the line of scrimmage. Michael Vick was actually outside the Metrodome. He was snapped the ball. He's running around cars, runs back into the Metrodome, goes through security, goes through the fans, hopped onto the field, ran around 20. So he's one of them. So there's 21 other players on a football field, 10 of his teammates, 11 defenders. He runs around all of them 3 different times. He sat down at the 50. He decided to order a pizza, had it waiting for him in the end zone, and then went and ran to the end zone. I'm like, Michael Vick is the single greatest running quarterback of all time. I don't care who's got more stats, more this, more that, more anything. Nobody sizzled on 2 feet as a quarterback like Michael Vick. Please, son. Like Davonte, I love you, but come on. Christian McCaffrey is better at running with the football than Lamar Jackson. I mean, come on. What are we doing? Like, isn't what actually happened interesting enough? We have to make shit up. Speaking of which, Shannon Sharp, the whole Shannon Sharp sex thing, like, you know, whether or not it really happened, whether or not you can really believe that was an accident, to me is secondary to, like, those are the noises you make when you're having sex? Like really? You're snorting like a horse. Why? What did you learn to have sex by watching terrible porn or like German porn that has been overdubbed and you what the hell was that? I'll tell you what it was. It was about 1 million free views on his live YouTube live stream last night. That's what that was. Again, I told Jillian, I'm like, we should release some sex sounds. She's like, you need to call a lawyer. Like, look at the attention that it brings. Oh my God. What world we're freaking living in. Look, I don't mean to sound too much like an old man shaking his fist at the clouds here, but I'm pretty sure during the MTV Music Awards, like I remember the big deal when, oh my God, Madonna kissed Britney Spears, kissed her. Oh my God. Well, just a few years later, I'm pretty sure I saw Katy Perry scissoring some rapper last night. I don't know who she was rapping with, but this other woman and Katy Perry were on a tiny little stage on the MTV Music Awards, and they scissored. I mean, okay. There you go. The new pop standard is it's a strip club, and every 13-year-old watching is more than welcome in. Like, okay. Sure. I can honestly say, I don't know if there have been moments of my life where I felt like, okay, you know, for a guy who knows an awful lot about pop culture, I'm officially pulling away. Like, pop culture is starting to lap me here. There are way too many people being introduced on the MTV Music Awards who are famous enough to be on the MTV Music Awards, yet I've never even heard of these people. So I'm clearly not paying attention. But I'm going to tell you right now, anyone who thought that was good, who is paying attention, if you thought anything you heard was really good, listen to Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. And if you're telling me the Katy Perry scissoring song is better than that, well, then, you know, go with God and good luck to you. Good luck. Okay, so I think I have some other NFL news here that I want to share with you, not just Davonte Adams calling Lamar Jackson the single greatest ball carrier of all time, which he's not. Jamar Chase has got a story coming out about him. This is from Sports Illustrated, that Jamar Chase, who is holding out from the Bengals, but he's not. He's playing, right? He's out there. Jamar Chase turned down a 4-year, $140 million contract. The Bengals offered Jamar Chase 4 years, $140 million, and he turned it down. It's $35 million a year for those of you who are math adjacent. $35 million a year, and a quarterback looks at that and goes, nope. He says he needs at least $1 more than Justin Jefferson. Oh, okay. I don't know if you're going to get that out of the Cincinnati Bengals, the least NFL franchise in the NFL, with historically the cheapest ownership in the history of professional football. I would have loved to have seen them bring that back to Mike Brown, the guy who owns the Bengals, and just be like, Mike, Jamar says no to $35 million a year. I will say this, in give that person a raise NFL news. I don't know who came up with this one. Somebody at the bank, somebody at Team Trevor Lawrence, somebody at the Jaguars, somebody else. I don't know. But the Jaguars play at EverBank Stadium, which is objectively an awful name. That's terrible. You know, there are some corporate names that you slap them on the stadium that it sounds better than that, right? You know, EverBank Stadium. The 49ers are going to go to Minnesota to play at US Bank Stadium. Like, Levi's is a corporate entity, but somehow sounds better. Levi's Stadium sounds better than EverBank, US Bank, Trust Stadium, whatever. It's just terrible. You know, the US Cellular Field where the freaking White Sox named New Comiskey, they turned it into that. That was about as bad as you can get. You know, it's funny. The original stadium naming deal sounds so charming. Wrigley Field. That was Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum, right? Wrigley Field. Anyways, the Jaguars play at EverBank Stadium. You do know that their quarterback is named Trevor Lawrence. So they are putting a T and an R in front of EverBank Stadium for their opener, their home opener against the Cleveland Browns. and you will be entering EverBank Stadium in sponsorship with the stadium's naming rights sponsor and Trevor Lawrence. Sunday, crews were working to add temporary signage throughout the stadium. I mean, they're taking this, they're putting a TR in front of every EverBank there is. I'm going to golf clap that. That's whoever came up with that one, not bad. Not bad at all. That's pretty clever. That's good. I like that. EverBank Stadium. Give that person a raise. Whoever thought of that deserves a couple of extra shekels in their paycheck this week. I got a little baseball here for you. I'm warning you. I feel like I need to warn you baseball content is coming. People need to be braced and ready for it. Again, more football comes up tomorrow with my boy Larry Kruger. We'll be at it at 9 a.m., getting you ready for 49ers and Vikings. Again, the interview that I did with Dave Lombardi last night. It's a YouTube video up on my channel. I highly suggest you watch it. Had a great conversation with Dave Lombardi. The news that came out this morning, though, made me kind of say, what's going on here? And what's going on here is what I told you would go on here, and that is there is absolutely nothing, not a team, not a roster, not a field, not a city, not a decision, not a stadium that John Fisher can't ruin. He is the all-time Major League Baseball colossal fuck-up. He really is. John Fisher is so bad at it, so bad at this, that I cannot believe he is allowed to exist. By the other major league owners, John Fisher is part of the reason why Major League Baseball isn't worth as much as it could be. He's that bad at it. Station KFBK in Sacramento had an exclusive interview with Scott Boras this morning that is just absolutely ripping up the concept that moving up to Sacramento for however many seasons is going to be some smooth sailing, an easy thing to do, just heading up 80. The Sacramento minor league ballpark, which should have been a completely dead-on-arrival decision for Major League Baseball, but they allowed John Fisher the lunacy to start selling this to people. It was a terrible idea from the minute it was conceived, and guess who's not very interested in playing any games on a turf-covered field in Sacramento in a minor league ballpark? Major League Baseball players, which seems to be a slight problem. So my man Carl Buszczyk, who might be in here in the room right now. Let me look. We got my boy Carl in the room. Is Carl here right now? I'm just scanning. Boy, I see a lot of familiar faces. So good to see all of you. Oh, as you know, I do break for Super Chats. Here you go. My Rhino saying, Damon, with the future ACC problems, I can see coast-to-coast conference, CCC, with the ACC. And the new Pac-12, ACC East, Pac in the West. I mean, yeah, I guess. I guess. I don't know. I think the whole part of conferences, I just think all conferences should be burned down at this point. They clearly don't matter anymore. Thank you very much for the super chat. This is my guy right here, by the way. How was the Kia trip? Thank you, Joseph, for asking. We got options. I know how much it's going to turn this one in, to lease another one, to buy it outright. We need options. Jillian and I are going to talk about the options when she's got a little bit more time. I got a D-Brew sandwich on Saturday with the promo code. I'm planning to try Reading Rainbow, the one that Billie Eilish promoted on Colbert this Saturday. Danny Golding TV. He's taking advantage of that Ikes in Phoenix or somewhere, Tempe maybe, or somewhere. I know you live in Arizona, Danny. Anyways, thank you very much for supporting the sponsors. Thanks to all of you. Hit like, subscribe, all of those good things. Really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Damon, can we get a pound it for Shannon?
Pound it, pound it, pound it, pound it.
Sure. Absolutely we can. I don't know if we really want that, but it happened. It actually happened. All right. I just want to make sure I haven't missed any more super chats. Anyways, so my good friend, channel contributor, Carl, there he is. Carl Booschek. I knew he was out there. Carl is always out there. Carl dropped the first sign of trouble this week when he said, has Damon seen this A's news? And the A's news from earlier in the week was that playoff tickets were not being guaranteed to people who were buying A's season tickets up in Sacramento. Now, I also said, as distasteful as that is, it's probably actually not going to be a real problem because the A's and the playoffs are nowhere near each other. And I don't know if they will become near each other. But, you know, conceptually, season ticket holders anywhere should be first to be able to buy playoff tickets. So that was sort of a sign of there's something not really working or clicking up there. Well, today, again, Scott Boras was on KFBK up in Sacramento, and he basically said, and this is significant, that the Major League Players Association, pretty hard to play Major League Baseball without the players, the Major League Players Association has not signed off on this move. So the union, the most powerful union in the history of organized labor, the Major League Baseball Players Union, has not signed off on this deal, which means there is no deal. Okay, there is no deal to play baseball in Sacramento, but conceptually, you know, this is the ultimate, a concept of a plan. Boras said that the new turf that's going to be installed in Sacramento is going to be a major problem going forward. So your ideas to refurbish this stadium to get it ready for Major League play ain't cool with major leaguers. So I don't know if you want to go ahead and install that turf just yet. Now, Boras, who is from Elk Grove, so he is very much pro Major League Baseball getting to Sacramento somehow, some way, someday. Scott Boras in this interview went on to say that the A's foray into the market, if it's a disaster, if players think going there is a mess, it's going to cast a pall on Sacramento ever getting a Major League Baseball team in the future. In other words, getting into business with John Fisher might do more to hurt your prospects of being a major league city than help your city's prospects of being a major league city. If that isn't enough for the good city of Las Vegas, just looking at all this, sitting on the sideline, if that isn't enough to let you know you're in the business with the wrong guy, I don't know what more. John Fisher ruins everything he touches. Every single plan he has is so poorly conceived and probably will not happen that you can't plan anything with John Fisher. There's no element of owning a baseball team that even could be described as borderline competent. Everything he does is incompetent. Everything is unbecoming of Major League Baseball. Not some of it, not a bit of it, not a slice of it, the whole fucking pizza. The whole thing. The whole thing. And Scott Boras said, are you ready? Are you sitting down? Are you ready? Scott Boras said that the Oakland Coliseum could actually become an option for the Oakland A's. I'm sorry. I'm going with my boys at the Dubliner West Portal to the final A's game ever later this month. And I said, I've already been to like 3 of these. I don't know if I want to go to another. They're like, come on, Damon, hang out with them. I'm like, all right, I'll come. I'll hang out with you. And you're telling me that there's a chance this final A's game ever in Oakland is not going to be the final A's game ever in Oakland. Scott Boras brought up the point that the new ownership group of the Coliseum is going to be ushered in soon, and they might give more favorable terms to John Fisher to stay than he turned down to leave. I mean, it seems to be there is one common denominator in the A's not being able to get things done in the park that they lived in the park that they're trying to move to, in any of the parks they're trying to plan to be built in California or Nevada, anywhere. Like, there is one common thread through all of the dysfunction. His name is John Fisher, and why Major League Baseball, again, I'm not saying every billionaire is just some asshole, but technically they probably mostly are, right? Why would you ever deal with an asshole? Well, they bring a huge pile of money to the table. Okay, so subtract this asshole and his huge pile of money, which actually isn't a huge pile of money at all. John Fisher is a billionaire on paper. And put him in, replace him with another asshole who's actually got the money and the juice and the will. And come on. It's freaking incredible. Friggin' incredible. By the way, I think the A's are playing the Astros right now. The Giants are going to be hosting the Brewers later tonight. Hey, they're just a couple games under 500. Really close to getting above 500. By the way, Hayden Birdsong, that fun story, well, he's now got an ERA of 5.19 and a losing record. So, go Giants. But I really mean it. How can Major League Baseball let this John Fisher situation go on as long as it has? What if I told you that relocation was an easy 12-step program and all you did was trip over every single step of the program? Do you think we should still leave you in charge of anything? So you're in charge of making sandwiches. All you forgot was the meat, the bread, the mayo, the mustard, the picnic basket, the blanket, or the wrapping paper for the sandwich. I don't understand. I just don't understand it. Like and subscribe, my good friends. Like and subscribe. Oh, this is Carl saying, preach, Damon. Look, I mean, it's unfreaking believable. It's unbelievable. What's now more unbelievable isn't how bad John Fisher is at this, that it's being allowed to happen. If that just doesn't show you that ownership in Major League Baseball pretty much across the board is just rotten to the core, I don't know what you're looking for. It's a shame that these bad actors are involved in a sport that used to be as precious as Major League Baseball. Look, I'm always going to carry a little love in my heart for Major League Baseball. I definitely love it now less than I used to, but there is something so special about going to a game, walking into a ballpark. I love it. I do. I will never not love it. One of the, ultimate cliches that you hear walking into a ballpark is, even though they played 1 million of these games, you might see something tonight that's never happened before. That's pretty much a lie around Major League Baseball. Anything that you think you're seeing for the first time, trust me, has happened at least 100 times in Major League Baseball. Anything that you think, oh, this is unique to me, this moment, this has never happened in the history of the sport, just never has happened before. It's happened multiple times over multiple decades. That's how much baseball has been played. So to actually get something that falls under the category of that has never happened before, that's harder to do than a perfect game, than a no-hitter. It's the actual thing in baseball that happened tonight for the first time ever in Major League Baseball. That is the rarest of all birds to spot while you're bird watching Major League Baseball. Well, last night, the Los Angeles Dodgers made Major League history. It's the hardest history there is to make, right? Last night, the Los Angeles Dodgers got a leadoff home run from Shohei Ohtani. Then they got back-to-back-to-back home runs from Tommy Edman, Smith, and Muncy. They had 4 home runs in the first inning, including a leadoff home run, back-to-back-to-back home runs, and then one of those players, Tommy Edman, later in the game, homered from the other side of the plate than he was hitting from in the first inning. Now, I know that that's a lot of moving parts in a lot of different things. I don't know if there is any individual accomplishment that's never happened in Major League Baseball. I guess we've never had a 5-home run game, okay? But the Dodgers last night became the first team in Major League history to do all 4 of those things in the same game. A leadoff home run, back-to-back-to-back home runs, 4 home runs in the first inning, and a player with a home run from both sides of the plate. First time ever. Did I mention that the Giants have Bob Melvin? The Dodgers got that. Giants got Bob Melvin. That feels like an unnecessary shot at Bob Melvin. I don't know if anyone would be able to reshuffle the Giants cards to be awesome or exciting or anything like that. Are you ready for a little Today in History? Again, I want to invite you back tomorrow at Wake Up. Yours truly and Larry Kruger will be at it. If you need more 49ers, please go watch that show that I did with Dave Lombardi last night. I think you're really going to like it. I saw some love there from the postman in Capitola in the chat as I was skimming it a little bit earlier. He liked that Lombardi interview. Thank you very much. A lot of people really like that collaboration. I hope Dave and I can do it again soon. And let me give you a little history of today, because we got quite a group of birthdays being celebrated today. Quite a group of birthdays. Yao Ming, Jesse Owens, Louis C.K., and Jennifer Hudson, all celebrating birthdays today. Yao Ming was like the biggest human I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. Unless you saw Yao Ming with your own 2 eyes, you don't even understand what a big person is. Louis C.K. was an absolutely hysterical comedian who jerked off way too much in front of women without asking their permission, and so he kind of disappeared for a while. He's coming back a little bit. I'll tell you, he's funny. You got to separate the art from the artist. There's a lot of times Louis C.K. has made me laugh. Jesse Owens had one of the single greatest performances in sports history, where he won gold medals in front of all those Nazis. German Olympics. Adolf Hitler, go fuck yourself. Jesse Owens, sign it. Boom. That was awesome. And Jennifer Hudson, the only reason why I brought that up is because my wife, Jillian, interviewed Jennifer Hudson at a Dreamforce a few years ago. And Jennifer Hudson could not have been cooler or sweeter or nicer. So there you go. Happy birthday to her. Today, in 2003, the United States of America became decidedly less cool. Johnny Cash passed away today in 2003. Johnny fucking Cash, man. He's the man. 2 TV shows of much different flavors were launched today. The Monkees in 1966 were launched today. The Monkees, for those of you who don't know, is basically the Temu version of the Beatles. The show Bonanza, which I have no recollection of besides its incredible theme song. Bonanza came out today in 1959, and that means something to some of you and probably absolutely nothing to most of you. But you all recognize that theme song, didn't you? Can't argue with a theme song that stays around forever. Plus, I'd like to think it gave us the Joe Starkey, it's a bonanza. It's a bonanza. Greg, thank you. Temu version of the Beatles. I'm dead. Thank you very much. Damn, that long ago already? The Man in Black, Johnny Cash. There's a great bar that used to be on Market Street called the Lucky 13. And this is when the San Francisco Guardian, this is like pre-internet San Francisco, pre-internet really being the where we go for all of our information, San Francisco, and used to pick up this magazine called The Guardian. And the ad for the Lucky 13 used to have a hell of a jukebox in it. And they would change out the albums in the jukebox except for Johnny Cash. And so every week in The Guardian, they would tell you, Like, what are the new bands in the jukebox? And then they would always end it with, and Johnny fucking Cash. I loved the Lucky 13. That bar was so San Francisco. That bar was a little, was like it had dive bar properties to it. It had punk bar properties to it. It had biker bar properties to it. It had gay bar properties to it. It was so San Francisco. The Lucky 13. It's a shame it's gone. Even had a great logo. There you go, Christopher. Hoss Cartwright. Yeah, what, Little John, Little Joe, Hoss. You still hear these names brought up. Greg is saying, hey, Lucky 13 is so San Francisco, it now lives in Alameda. Again, you can call it the Pac-12. I'm sorry, that ain't the Pac-12. You can call it the Lucky 13 if it ain't on market. It ain't. No, sorry. That cannot. No, that can't. Sorry. Ring of Fire, shout it out. By the way, Smiley Dan here. Lucky 13 was exceptional. He knows. My man Smiley Dan knows. Freaking love it. Iceman, thank you very much. A little jingle jangle from the Iceman coming in, going right in the ganja jar. Also today in 1983, the cartoon G.I. Joe aired for the first time. Knowing is half the battle. I wish I had known that. I watched a lot of G.I. Joe. As a kid. That was probably G.I. Joes and Transformers, to the point where I didn't have G.I. Joes going up against Cobra. Upstairs in my room when I was a little kid, it was G.I. Joes versus Transformers. Lucky 13 had a weekend barbecue. Yeah, Lucky 13 had a lot of things in to go. Smiley Dan with a full recap here. Pinball upstairs, popcorn, dogs, Lucky 13 sweatshirts still bounce around the city. Love seeing them. That's how you know that's an OG bartender right there wearing one of those black Lucky 13 hoodies. You see a bartender wearing that anywhere, that bartender's seen some shit. They've been through an awful lot. Crazy love for G.I. Joe. Who doesn't love G.I. Joe? You are all my kind of people. I hope you've all hit a like. I hope you've all hit a subscribe. I knew I probably sabotaged this show when I didn't make it just like, oh, another Niner YouTube thumbnail to click on. But I wanted to talk Pac-12. I wanted to get into some other things that have been buried behind any and all NFL content over the last, 5 months. So we got to a few other things today. I hope you enjoyed today's The Other Things show. Tomorrow we'll be back to the main thing. Yours truly and Larry Kruger with a wake up for you. And then I'm off to Pasadena, the little old man going to Pasadena. I can't wait. I can't wait to see the Rose Bowl. And we'll bring you inside as much as we can. I'll share some video. See if you can't get a video of me doing a keg stand. I don't even know if I have the upper body strength to do a keg stand anymore, but we might find out. We're not going to find out. I can't do a keg. I had a stroke. I'm not allowed to do keg stands anymore, according to my physicians. And there it is, kids. That is today's Damon Bruce Show. Thanks again to my friends at BetUS. I encourage you to check out BetUS right now. Use promo code YouTube150 to save, to get a 150% deposit match on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. I want you to remember the promo code SAT3 when you're ordering an Ikes sandwich on the Ikes app or in person. Unfortunately, not in Santa Rosa, San Mateo, or Redwood City. That'll save you $3 off an Ikes sandwich on Saturday. I want you to get to the Dubliner. And oh, by the way, if you like that football helmet behind me, it can be yours. Let's say you wanted to order all new members of the Pac-12 football helmets. They have all kinds of football helmets. Every college football helmet you can think of. Big, mini, replica, real. Any kind of NFL helmet you can think of. Mini, big, replica, real. any kind of customized helmet you could dream of. You can get it at greengridiron.com. I want you to click on the description that is in the little description box of this live video. Check out the helmets at greengridiron.com. I know everyone's starting to, like, you get to Halloween, which will be here before you know it. You start turning your attention to Thanksgiving, and if you're turning your attention to Thanksgiving, you now automatically start turning your attention to the holiday season coming up. Do you need another jersey? Do you realize that what you spend on jerseys, it's the same amount as like replica helmets? It's so cool. Get some helmets. Let someone you love them with a helmet from greengridiron.com. Check out the link in the description of this video. You are the best. You are my kind of folks. You truly are. Thank you so much for watching. Viewership has gone up on the channel this week in a way that I just want to say thank you so very, very much to all of you for helping that happen. Thanks to my sponsors. Thanks to the viewers. And remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone.